Hey guys, Ellison with SunCoast. Today I've got a very special guest, Justin Young, owner of Mod Mustangs, ModNational promoter. Justin, thanks for joining us here, man.
Thanks for having me here.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and what Mod Mustangs is, and kind of where it started.
I've been in the mod motor community for 23 years now, since 2000. If you look in the dictionary of like mod motor, enthusiast, I'm that guy. I'm your Huckleberry. I've been doing it for a long time, and even when it wasn't sexy, so I'm from Kansas City. A lot of very famous Facebook people, personalities are from that area. Stain Killers, Streetcar Takeover, all those people, they're all LS guys. I was the only one in the community that had a mod motor.
You're the black sheep over there.
I just wanted to prove that we could do what you could do, and it took a lot of money, and I ended up getting beat a lot by LS motors, and very capable engine, but over time, as technology got better, people started learning how to build these engines. We actually did get faster. First we were in the 5s well before LS motors. We were 300 in a standing mile. Our X275 cars are far superior to LS motors. So, the whole point of what I'm trying to do with Mod Mustangs is trying to give a national platform for the engine.
A voice for the mod motors.
Yeah, you have all these LS pages, you have LS Fest, all this corporate sponsorship, and I'm like, why can't I do that? I'm tired of going on the Facebook pages and forums, defending our community with facts, with actual tangible evidence. I saw a void, and I was like, let me be the voice, because I'm real good at the internet, real good at trolling. I know the LS motors real well, so I can talk to those. And we built the social media up to about 450,000 people within 3 years. So there was the demand signal.
Right.
And our first post from the get was with a picture of my buddy Zach's car, and it says, our cars are faster than your LS's. Just straight off the rip, and it just took off from there.
Took off from there. So you've pretty much pioneered, the modular community thereafter, which kind of brings me into my question of, what is ModNationals as a race? A lot of the people are, if you're in the mod community, you're familiar with the race and the presence it brings. But to you, where did it start? How did ModNationals become a thing?
I wouldn't say pioneer, because I think there's many people before me that pioneer. What I want to do is bring people together. I want to have a community of verified tuners and engine builders and race installers that if you go to them, you're going to be supported. And then business to business, they can then work together like good segues, SunCoast and Beefcake Racing, right? Both good sponsors. One's a parts seller and installer and racer, and one is a manufacturing company.
Right.
That's a good partnership. So if I say, hey, go to SunCoast, well, then I go to Beefcake to buy the parts, and then you're getting supported by both.
Shout out to Beefcake. Wow, your 10-speed stuff there.
So, we want to reward the companies that take care of people and not reward the people
right.
that don't.
Right.
So we have 45, 50 companies that support the race. We could take on 100 if we could. There's so many good companies out there we want to reward for helping us be fast, be quick, be efficient, and produce good parts. And that's why mod motors have actually done so well, is because there's so many good quality aftermarket parts.
A lot of support there.
There's a lot of support. And again, I don't want to take credit for pioneering. What I did see is a void in the community of bringing people together. And I just took advantage of that, and it took off from there. I understand the racer. I've been to thousands of races. I'm like, okay, LS Fest, they got theirs for that motor. I'm like, why doesn't ModNationals have, or Mod Motors have our own ModNationals? And so I was overseas serving our country in 2015. I came up with the idea. I called Sherrod from UPR on a sat phone. I said, hey, I'm doing this. I need money. And he's like, I'm in. Here's the dates. It was in Memphis in 2016, and that's how it started. Had one company, had a couple dollars, and we built ModNationals, and now we're on our 7th year, and it's pretty phenomenal. So
you've tailored ModNationals obviously towards the mod motor guys for the last 7 years, and it's consistently grown bigger and bigger and bigger. You started in Memphis, did your handful of years at SGMP. This year is interesting because it's actually switching locations.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I ended up doing a partnership with Victor Alvarez at Bradenton, and I live in Tampa, so it's very advantageous for me to be in Bradenton.
Close to home, yeah.
What he's able to offer me was just a great partnership, because if the track's not invested in ModNationals, then it's really a fight and an uphill battle. So Victor was a good partner to bring on board, 50-50. He's as much a part of ModNationals as I am, and it's going to be bigger. We're at $95,000 in payouts this year, which is $20,000 more than we had last year, and it's just going to keep getting bigger. We have new classes. We're going to have a lot more spectators. It's going to be more of everything.
So it's consistently grown over the last 7 years for you. But can you tell me why ModNationals is different than any other race, say NMRA or points racing or anything like that?
I think the biggest difference ModNationals has over the other races is there's not a board of directors. There's not bureaucracy or politics. It's me, right? So if you have an issue with the race or the rules or just come to me. There's not layers of people you need to get to if there's something simple, common sense, we're going to make the change on the spot. It's not going to be like you got to submit an email or submit a change request.
You're the end-all be-all guy.
That's it. And so I've been to thousands of races, and I've looked at other races, and I just take notes. There's people that like Donald Long doing phenomenal things, Jason Miller, phenomenal things, Strico Taker, there's phenomenal things, but I just take little bits of each race, and I implement it into what we're trying to do at ModNationals. And at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of our racers have not been taken care of. And that hurts my feelings because they're not even getting taken care of on the payout side. They can't even, we have the Happy Gilmore checks. All of our racers that win keep the checks. Whereas at other races, that's a dry erase board.
Right.
Where they put your name on there and you take a picture and you don't even keep it. Those are little things that we can do.
That leads me into my next question. Payouts are ridiculous this year.
Yep.
What are we up to so far?
Yeah, 95,000. And if we end up getting the spectator count that we anticipate, it's going to be crazy next year.
Higher next year.
Yeah.
For
At
sure.
the end of the day, if I can get this to 200,000 for our community, it will do it because the racers that put the money in are it. I mean, if we don't have racers, we don't have manufacturers, and that's it. We want to reward the guys and girls that are putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars, traveling all over the country. And that's why we have so many classes. We want to make sure that everyone has a home for whatever niche setup they have on their car. We want to make sure that and oftentimes there's overlapping classes. If you have a car, a Coyote with a 6R80 with a blower, you can enter 4 classes and potentially win over $10,000 if you can figure out how to run all 4 classes during eliminations. We look at other races that do it right, take the good, discard the bad. We make mistakes, everyone makes mistakes, but we really either try to own the mistake immediately, work through the problems, don't hide behind the internet or bureaucracy. We try to do the right things by the racer because those are the people that make our community. And if you don't take care of them, the
whole event goes to scratch.
I think our race is now at the point of people put it on the map, they put it on the calendar, and they're like, that's the race we're going to hit. If anything, that's the race. And so I don't want to disappoint them with minimum payouts or a lack of planning or a lack of execution or a bad prep. We spend 10 to 15 grand just on glue. So we want every pass to be the fastest, quickest pass they've ever had.
Trying to do PRs out there.
That's right. It's that time slip and those photos. At the end of the day, the checks and trophies, the money will come and go. Cool, the payouts are great, and that makes you happy for that couple months. But the photos you have on the wall, the stuff you can put on the wall. When I go to their houses and they have it proudly displayed, I think that for me it feels good.
Every year, ModNats is at the same date. It's the second week in November. Can you tell us why?
The initial dates for ModNationals was Labor Day because, I talked to Jason Miller and Donald Long, and they said, don't compete with other races, own a date, own a location. Well, I've ended up changing locations 3 times and dates 4 times. So I haven't followed the rules very well. So when I got off of that Memphis location, went to South Georgia, they already had a Labor Day race. So I was like, okay, well, I need to offset Duck's race, Jason's race, NMRA, all these other races. And come to find out Veterans Day weekend was open. And I was like, well, I'm a veteran. I like veterans. We do a lot of veteran things. And I'm like, that's been my date, unapologetically. It's just, it's our date. We have flags everywhere. We do veteran, kind of like a giveaway. Last year, I think it was kind of low last year with the hurricane. We raised like $8,000 at the race through payout contributions and people just showing money. And then we do giveaways, the farthest traveled veteran. We had one last year. It was the longest married veteran, which if you've ever been married in the military, it's a really, really hard thing to do.
It's tough to let it go, yeah.
Yeah, so 35 years. It was ridiculous. So of course they won a trophy and some money on that. So that's kind of a good feel good. And when we do a photo at the starting line on Saturday, we bring in all the veterans that are racers, crew, and then staff, and we do a veterans photo. So it's kind of a fun way of giving back and acknowledging the racers who are veterans because there's a lot of us.
So we're here in Fort Walton Beach and we're surrounded by a very large military community. You've got Eglin, Hurlburt, Duke, Tyndall, this whole area. I recently just found out that you were a veteran. Do you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah. So interesting enough, bringing SunCoast on as a big sponsor, and you guys are phenomenal, being 2 blocks away from where basically I started my military career is a very, very special thing for me. I'm super romantic about this area. So I joined the military in 2001 in June to join for college. I was a track and field athlete and played multiple sports, and I didn't get into college, and I was like, what do I do? I'm like, oh, Air Force. I was like, they got some cool jobs, to work out, and so I didn't not scoring high enough to do a really technical job, so I joined the Air Force to be a TAC-P. 9/11 was the day my school started here at Fort Walton Beach, 2001. I'm a coward by nature. I'll tell anybody this, and I'll be the first one to tell you I'm not a hero. I was shitting myself because I didn't know what I was prepared for. No one knew. 9/11. You joined a job to go to the war to drop bombs on people. That's what JTACs are doing. I spent the next 5 months of my life from September to January, 4 months, training on the sugary white beaches, making sugar cookies and Eglin range, going through swamps and getting chased by all of the creatures out there, and ended up starting my military career. Did 10 years in the military as a TAC-P, multiple deployments, did some really cool stuff. Very honored. Obviously, I served during the global war on terror, so I think I've had opportunities that a lot of the current guys in the last 13 years have not seen. Ended up getting medically retired in 2010. The last 13 years, I have done a lot of really cool government work, government jobs, kind of in the same world. I still feel like I'm in the fight. I feel, being retired 9 years, I had a lot to give. So I didn't think I was hurt. I didn't think I was medically not fit enough to do the job. So never had the victimhood of like, woe is me. I just like, okay, cool. That was the hand I was given. How do I get back to the fight? How do I get back to the users? How do I be the voice? So the good segue of what I do in the government and what I do with the Mustang community is I want to be the voice, because I speak both languages. I speak in the government side, I speak government real well, but I speak user, TAC-P, JTAC real well. So I'm able to kind of bring technology and solutions to the government that is in a way that they understand it. Whereas the Mustang community, good segue, I speak racer real well and I speak business real well. So I'm able to bring solutions, to the community from both sides. I can understand both sides and articulate it. So it's pretty cool to kind of have two opportunities to help people out, because at the end of the day, like, you are your legacy, whatever you leave behind. So I want my legacy to be give back, reward, 100% give. And there's it just warms my heart, on both sides, and make sure that I give the right information. I've always said, if you want the truth, just ask me. Some people don't want the truth. It sucks, but it's a very rewarding proposition on both sides of the Mustang business, and obviously my the government stuff that I do now.
Us at SunCoast, we really appreciate your military service. We back our service members, active and retired. That leads me though into my next question. As humble of a guy you are, we're talking about 14 total classes with $95,000 in payouts this year for ModNats. Do you have maybe 3 favorites, or what's your favorite class? What are you looking forward to most, if you could sum that up?
We have a new class called 950 Index.
Okay.
And so that is actually probably going to be our biggest class, because you have your 950 cars who can't compete against the 8-second cars.
Right.
So now you have an open-ended, open rule 950 class that you can just show up and run 950s. You might probably have 30 cars in it. Those are probably the biggest car, like by count community, is the 9-second to 10-second cars that show up. And again, they're just class fillers. They know they're ducks. So let's just make a class for them. Now they can compete, pretty competitively.
Right.
For a good payout. Motion Racehorse came on as a sponsor for that. Big payouts for that. And if they reward me with 32 cars, that payout's going to be big next year.
Right.
So I think they're going to show up. I think the new class of Modular Extreme 28 is going to be special, because the type of car in the class typically have to run under certain specific rules, like X275, certain weight, certain turbo sizes. We've done away with all of that. We're not able to see the true capability of these engines because there's so many rules. Yeah. So let's just take away the rules and just show up and see what happens. Can somebody run a 4.0, 390? Like, we've never seen the boards lit with a time like that. We've seen, potentially some no-time guys run that quick, but we don't know.
Spectators get off on that stuff, man. When the boards light up a 14 pass, they're
I'm telling you, if you compare LS Fest and ModNationals, not even the same level of car and times, because you have a lot of rules on one side and then you have minimal rules on the other. And at the end of the day, we want to see how fast, how quick these cars can actually be. And then, okay, if we have a couple cars that kind of take off and they're much, much quicker, we can tighten up a little bit, but I just want to see the boards lit. And we have $7,500 in that class, modular stream. People are going to show up, you know, because they want the prestige of being the quickest 8th mile car in the country, to light the boards up, but also, you know, win the money. Besides that one, super big fan of that one. Our no time class is interesting. Our no time class is open to all small block engines, turbocharged small block engines. So LSs can show up, even though I'm pretty sure they're going to oil down my track. And it's invite only, so you can't just show up. It's got to be sorted out. We don't want to, I don't talk times. We don't want a killer showing up and just, you know, mollywopping everyone. So we want to make sure that it's fair.
Keep it competitive.
We want parity. Yep, and we're not going to exclude someone just because they may be a 10 faster. Like, we don't know. I mean, it's no time. Anything can happen.
What's next for ModNats? You know, we're excited to be the presenting sponsor this year and to see what's to come this November, but what's next, man? I mean, it's growing, and like you said, you scale it, but next year, what should we expect?
Yeah, we're scaling small. Some people want to grow too fast, and I think your quality control,
it's when it kind of dips down.
It suffers. So this being our first year, we're gonna rinse and repeat a lot of what we did last year, fix a lot of the problems we had last year by bringing in the right staff, and then obviously Victor and his staff are
top-notch people,
best in the country. So this year is going to be, I think it's going to be bigger by double than any other prior race. So we've got to be prepared for that. The racer and the sponsors that get the business from the racer, that's what it's all about. You know, and then obviously showcasing nationally that we are far superior to LS Motors is always internal to my motivation. So if we can't light the boards at $399 this year, I'm gonna blow up the internet and tell every LS person that suck. You know, so it's all tongue in cheek. I got a lot of friends that are on the GM side. You know, obviously Blake is a big GM guy. You're a GM guy. So at the end of the day, it's all in good fun.
I'm learning, man. These Coyotes, they're starting to impress me. But
yeah, it's a great out. I mean, LSs still have their place and purpose. A small engine, small package. You can put it in a lot of engines or a lot of chassis combos. But if you have room to put a bigger motor in there, just go get a Gen 2 Coyote from a junkyard, slap it in, make 1,000 horsepower. It's that easy.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you here in town, man. I hope you know, you enjoy our nice beaches here. We're excited, you know, as the presenting sponsor for ModNationals. We can't wait to see what this year's turnout's like. And I appreciate you joining me here today, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yep.
With over $95,000 in cash payouts, this will be the biggest Mod Motor event to date. Mark your calendars now for November 9th through the 12th at the new ModNationals venue located in South Florida at Bradenton Motorsports Park. Hope to see you there.